I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, seriously, what are you talking about? The big man in the NBA is extinct. Look, I just sit there and watch the Golden State Warriors, like, almost win the championship, broke the Chicago Bulls single season record for most wins. I seen LeBron James win a championship without a big man. I've seen Draymond Green sit there, be 6'7", and play the center position. It's not like he's a Ben Wallace type of a player who's super strong and super athletic. He's not that type of a player. You know, his body type, you can tell that, you know, he has that girth on him to where he can be able to handle himself. But against these guys, he can do that. But could he have done that, say, against, say, a Shaq? Or, you know, I'm not even going to name Shaq. I'm going to name somebody that is beneath Shaq. I would say somebody like a Patrick Ewing. No. Patrick Ewing would eat him up, spit him up, chew him up, regurgitate him, and then chew him up again. That's how Patrick Ewing would do him. So I'm looking at these numbers right now, and I'm seeing that last year, DeMarcus Cousins averaged 26.9 points per game. You would say, Grizz, that's good. But here's a kick. He shot 45% from the field. When you shoot 45% from the field and you're a big man, I'm sorry, that's not good. Why? Because you're a big man. You're 5 feet from the basket. Kobe Bryant's career shooting percentage is 45%. So you're shooting what Kobe Bryant is shooting, but you're not averaging the points. And then this is the thing that really pissed me off when I saw this. He shot 3.2 three-pointers a game. Why are you doing that? Why? I can understand why that position is being extinct, because you have guys like this. Hold on, I'm not done. Brook Lopez averaged 20.6 points per game. And yeah, he shot 51% from the field, but it's Brook Lopez. He plays absolutely no defense. So it's like, yeah, you're scoring, but you're getting scored upon, and you can't rebound. And then third was Karl Anthony Towns. Now, I believe that this guy, I believe that he's going to be a phenomenal basketball player. He averaged 18 points per game. I truly believe that this kid is going to be truly something special. I really believe that, especially if he stay under the tutelage of Kevin Garnett. He's going to be something very vicious, something very nasty once he gets that exposure and he gets a lot more games under his belt. Then you got Nikolai Vucevic, 18 points per game. Pau Gasol, 16 points per game, but Pau is no longer in his prime. You got Andre Drummond, 16 points per game, but you give him over $100 million. Come on now, really? Like, he can't score the basketball. I'm sorry, he can't shoot free throws. This is the big man in today's NBA. This is what you have. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if some people say, well, Grizz, you living in the past. Man, I'm not living in the past. I'm telling you that the future, it sucks. So if I'm living in the past because the past was great and the future sucks, don't be mad at me. Please, I kept telling y'all, I said, say what you want to say about Golden State. They cannot compete with any of those teams in the old days. And I was proven right. Why? Because you lost a 3-1 series to LeBron James. I'm sorry. You lost. Come on. How can you sit there and win all those games, but you don't win a championship? Why? Because they had no big man. What the big man allows you to do is, if your jump shot is not working, guess what? You throw that bad sucker in. Trust and believe me. Kobe jump shot when he was playing with Shaq was not always on. But he knew, you know what? I don't like this dude right here. I don't like you. But you know what? Your ass can play. You can play some basketball. So let me throw that sucker down there and you go do your thing. And then when Shaq would get tired, then Phil had that luxury of saying, Kobe, Shaq done carried us. Now you got to take us home now, man. Like, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the 1995-1996 NBA season. Michael averaged 30. It's Michael. But Hakeem averaged 26.9 points per game. Shaq averaged 20.6 points per game. And then the Admiral averaged 25.0 points per game. That's when the center was dominant. That's when those guys can do it all and shoot a high percentage from the field. These guys, they can't do that. I'm sorry. They don't have the requisite skills. I have this friend of mine. I'm not going to name his name. But this friend of mine, he coaches basketball. And I'm here to tell you, he should be fired. He does not know what he's doing. He's awful. I was talking to him on the phone about his big man. And I asked him, I said, because I wanted to know why our big man in the NBA look the way in which they look. I really wanted to know. So, he's a coach. So I asked him, I said, well, what do you have them do? And he was like, we have them do fundamental drill, the George Mikan drill. We have them do all those types of drills. And he said, we also have them shoot 3-point shots. I said, hold up. What are you talking about? Why are they shooting 3-point shots? Because that's what the Europeans do. I said, hold up. You're copying the Europeans? Yeah. The Europeans is this, Europeans is that. But I said, but the Europeans is soft, though. With a capital S. They're soft. Like, you remember when there was a draft class when you had all of these Europeans coming into the NBA? You really don't see that no more. Why? Because in order to play when it's time to play, you have to be strong. You have to have some cojones. I remember when Pau Gasol, when he went up against Kevin Garnett and Kendrick Perkins during the first NBA championship. Well, take that back. When Boston Celtics, when they won their 17th NBA championship, Pau Gasol was dominated. They raped him consistently. He could not withstand the punishment. Why? He wasn't used to it. He wasn't used to that. He wasn't used to that Detroit Pistons style of basketball. We're going to sit there, we're going to beat you up. He wasn't used to that. You need to teach these guys how to be strong in the post. That's what you need to teach them how to do. And then teach them, you know what? I don't want to be in the low post no more. Now let me face you up. Now let me take you off the dribble like Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Let me do something like that. So when I was talking to him and then we had a huge discussion, I'm like, dude, what are you teaching these guys? And he was like, well, I'm only doing it for the money. I said, oh man, you're horrible. You're horrible. He lucky he's my boy, because I would go up there and I'll tell him exactly what he said. But that's my boy. I'm not going to do that. But now I can understand why big men suck the way in which they do, because guys like him, he don't know what he's doing. He doesn't. The big man in the NBA is horrible. Think about the teams that was in the postseason. We got Golden State, no big man. We got Oklahoma City, no big man. We got LeBron James, no big man. We had Tim Duncan and company, really no big man. Tim Duncan is old. Who was it? LaMarcus Aldridge. Yeah, he is, but then I don't like the fact that he allows Draymond Green to kind of bully him, so I'm not even going to count him. So you look at those teams, and then we had, who was that? The Miami Heat. Come on, Hassan Whiteside, really? He's like a knockoff version of Dwight Howard, and that's not really saying too much of anything. Who else you had? The Toronto Raptors, really? These are the teams. Just think about the teams that I'm naming as opposed to what I named earlier. Shaq, Hakeem, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. Back in the day, if you had a big man like that, you was going to go to the postseason. If these teams right now, presently constructed, if they went up against Golden State, I'm telling you, that, first of all, Golden State couldn't even play in this era. If they did, they would be an 8th seed, and then they get swept out of the NBA postseason. LeBron James and company, I'm sorry, couldn't play. Well, LeBron James could. I mean, he could play in any era. Don't get me wrong. He could play in any era. But that team, no. Why? Because who's going to stop the big man? If you look at the probability, if you look at it, I'm shooting the ball 5 feet from the basket as opposed to you shooting 30 feet from the basket. Why do you think people don't want to? Well, people do talk about it. If you notice, when Golden State, when they couldn't make jump shots, what else could they do? What else? Tell me what else. Nothing. They have no post game. So yeah, Kevin Durant, yeah, he's with them. Okay, and what's your point? We've seen him not be able to make a jump shot. What does that mean? The NBA is horrible. DeAndre Jordan, I don't know what he's talking about. He's been in the NBA far too long to not have a daggone jump shot. Not a jump shot, but some post moves. Every time I look up, he's dunking the basketball. What that tells me is that, you know what, he's not working on his game. I remember when Dikembe Mutombo came into the league, he wasn't the greatest offensive player, but he worked on his game. And when he went up against Shaq in the NBA postseason, he actually did quite well. I can honestly say that if Dikembe Mutombo played in today's NBA, he would probably average like 25 points. And his team would win an NBA championship. Why? Because he was dominant on both sides of the basketball. Even though I like DeMarcus Cousins, as far as for me, I need for him to be a little bit more vicious on the defensive end. There's nowhere in the world that he should be averaging that amount of points and his team doesn't go to the postseason. I'm sorry. And then he's not shooting a high percentage. So I don't understand what DeAndre Jordan, I understand what he's trying to say. But in order for this statement to actually be true, he needs to actually work on his game. Instead of trying to be on the Olympic team, he needs to be somewhere in a basketball gym working on fundamental moves to get him right. He needs to try to call somebody like Hakeem Olajuwon or call somebody like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or one of the old-time greats. He needs to call some of these guys and say, look, man, I'm a bum on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know what to do. I have no game, and I need for you to help me. Can you help me do that? And trust and believe me, those guys will sit there and they will help him. Now, speaking of the NBA, Michael Jordan's red and white XXXI, a tribute to the originals, quote, band legend, because the band is at the bottom of the shoe. I don't know what that comes out to, XXXI. I don't know what that comes out to. Only thing I know is that shoe will be coming out September 3rd for $185. Do you know how much the Air Jordan 1s that came out March 1985, do you know how much those shoes cost? If you say $100, you're wrong. It was $65. $65. You're talking about mass inflation. How do you go from $65 to $185 for some Jordans? And then every time I turn around, and Jordan, he's smart. Oh, man, that dude is smart when it comes to selling a shoe. He'll sit there and he'll be like, you know, these shoes, he'll say, these shoes are only going to be out for this specific amount of time. And then you will have all these kids go to Foot Locker, Foot Action, the internet, and they'll sit there and they'll order these expensive shoes. And then he'll turn around and the same shoe that he came out with, say, 8 months ago, he'll turn around and then he'll sell the same exact shoe. And it's like, come on, Jordan, really? I got another stat for you. Do you know, in June, do you know how much money the Jordan brand product, do you know how much money it brought in? Do you know? Come on now. 1, 2, 3. $2.7 billion. Let me say that again. $2.7 billion. That lets you know that the Jordan brand is alive and well. You have kids out there who don't even know who Michael Jordan is. The only thing they know is that they need some Jordans. Now, for me personally, I would not buy any of Michael Jordan's shoes. I've said this before, it's for a few reasons. Number one, he made me cry in 1991 when he beat my Los Angeles Lakers. I will never get over that. I will remember it until the day I die. I remember it was my mom, it was my auntie Gwen, who was in the front room at my mom's house, and Michael Jordan had beat the Lakers, and I just couldn't stop crying because my Lakers lost. I'm like, Mom, my Lakers lost. I don't like Michael Jordan. I don't like it. She's like, baby, it's okay. It's okay. I said, no, Mom.